Jeez. There we go. And that's why it's so hard to film around animals. Today we're going to talk about pond life. On one of the other videos, Sean Sopp had asked about, what about the fish in the pond, the life in the pond. So you can see here at the top, on top of the pond, on the water, you can see there is quite a bit of, well, there's debris from feathers to seeds. So we have all the fluff from the trees now coming off and sitting on the pond. And it is actually getting pretty low. From this area here, when it's in the spring, when it's at its high point, you can see just how high it is. Now it's kind of gone down. We haven't gotten a lot of rain. And so the pond hasn't filled up because it's not fed from any kind of natural underwater spring. It's a little tough to see, but you can see a gold patch right there. So those are the goldfish. Now I did try to do an underwater shot of the goldfish, and well, it wasn't really that clear. I got some pretty good shots, but nothing spectacular, not what I was hoping. So what I do is well, there's a couple things here that I keep this clean. So you can see there's a little bit of green happening here. It's almost time to add some of the enzyme that I normally do, and that just breaks down all the I guess the nitrates in the water. The other thing is this windmill here, which currently isn't turning, but it will once a gust of wind picks up. Now it runs down, there's a hose that comes down under here. You can see it there along, and then it sits out in this area. This area here is probably, it's not all that deep right now. It's probably about 3 feet deep. So it's not a deep pond, and it aerates. Bubbles come up in this area here. Now for the fish, now we learned this years and years ago. When you put fish in the pond and you try to get them out at the end of the year, well, you can't get all of them, of course, because there's too many and you're not going to find them all. So we lived in the city of Winnipeg, and we had a small pond that was maybe a foot and a half deep. Wasn't very deep at all. And the goldfish that were in there, we would take out as many as we could, and we'd put them inside in our aquarium for the winter. And of course, next spring we'd put them back out. Well, we found that before we moved any out, there were fish in the pond. And we thought, wow, you know, that's pretty crazy. Kind of like frogs, I guess. Frogs will go into like a cryogenics and dig themselves and burrow underneath the pond into the mud. And then they'll revive themselves. So same thing with fish, with goldfish anyway. We don't take them out. And there's, I don't know if you can see that, but there's, it's a little hard to see. It's kind of overcast, so, but you can see that orange bloom right there. So we don't take them out, and this pond, I'm sure, freezes solid, and they come back to life. So no need to worry about the fish. So from the other side of the pond, you can see right about here, there are reeds. They haven't quite broken the surface yet. They're close to the surface, but they grow up and they help filter out all the nitrates in the water. It's taken quite a few years to get them growing. We started off by putting some lily pads in there, and the lilies didn't really take off. You buy them and you sink them down, and then they'll grow up, and they should come back every year, but they didn't. So the ducks, nonetheless, love the pond, and they will skim everything off of the top. And they have a serrated edge on their beaks. And what they'll do is they'll suck the water in, and they'll basically filter it through their beak. So that there is one of the female cayuga. We think she's a cross because of the white on it, on her. And there's there's Kai, which is the cayuga. You can see him by his little drake feather on the tail. And then this one here came in, a tufted or crested. It's known as both types, a tufted crested pekin. And this one here, which has just a little tuft on the top of the head. So those two boys came in because you need a good population of females to males. And the person who had them had 4 females and 3 males. And the girls were getting picked on too much. So she brought these 2 over to us, and she kept a male. And the females should be much happier with only 1 male kicking around. So the kid goats, hunting. Hunting for what's on the other side of the fence. Hey kids? So they're just picking through, and here are the young Muscovy ducks. They're heading into the water. Their feathers are just coming in. The fluff is just going out. Muscovy ducks take quite a long time to mature. They'll take a full season. Whereas Pekin ducks, these Pekin ducks here, will get from chicks to practically this size within like 6 weeks, which is obviously the reason why Pekin ducks are used as a meat bird, because they're large and they grow just so fast. But the Muscovy ducks, as I'd mentioned before in other videos, they are native to the equatorial region. They're seen down in Florida, Panama, in that region, and they can't handle the cold climate that we have up in Canada here, the below zero, so they have to go in. The standoff between goose and sheep. Who will win? Looks like the goose has the upper hand as Lambert is backing away. I would say goose wins. So speaking of pond life, I have to show you these little guys. These little guys are one of our newest additions. So they're about 4 days old, and I think there's about 30 of them. So they're a mixture of different kinds of ducklings, and they want water. Don't you? Yes, they are hungry for water. And the thing is, see, they don't have any water, but we feed them a little bit at a time. Just because they're so messy and they want to play in the water. So we'll do that now. As soon as I find a water jug, here we go. Some water. Okay guys, you ready? Here we go. Okay, I'm going to pour it on you if you do that. There we go. Of course, they're trying to get it inside the container. There we go. Now it'll quieten down. A little bit more? A little bit more. There we go. So that's the thing with ducks, or ducklings. Well, ducks in general, I guess. You have to watch the water, and in the winter time, you want to make sure you don't give them too much water. Give them water 3 times a day, enough that they're going to get through, and they won't sit there and just play in it. So I really wanted to try to make this video work with the goldfish and catfish or whatever I could find, but just getting in there, I found that it was a little too murky. It might have been because I was wading in the water, and I brought up some of that fine silt that's on the bottom, and you just couldn't see properly from the GoPro images I had underwater. So I went in and got the drone, and I thought, wow, what if I do some aerial shots, and I'll just kind of go over the top of the water and then point down and catch them. Well, of course, as soon as I did that, the fish darted into deeper water. So that didn't work out. So I apologize if this video isn't as good as it should be, but I will make sure that I'll get that done up get better content moving forward. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I thank you for all my subscribers that wished me a happy Father's Day. That was wonderful. And we'll see you next week. And if you like my video content, please give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. Bye-bye.